Hi friends, in this video we will discuss about the all body system which is work in our body, that is digestive system, respiratory system, muscular system, skeletal system, circulatory system, lymphatic system, endocrine system, integumentary system, then urinary system, nervous system and the reproductive system of female and male both. First of all, we will discuss about the digestive system. The digestive system is the system. It is used for the breakdown of the food into the nutrients, and these nutrients are passed through the blood circulation or circulatory system and are taken to where they are needed in the body. The function of the digestive system are eating, that is intake of food or liquid into the mouth, then secretion. The secretion, it means the production or secretion of the saliva or enzymes. Then mastication means the breakdown of the food. Then lubrication means the softness of the food with the help of saliva. Then digestion, absorption and the excretion. The organ which is involved in the digestive system are divided into two types, that is main digestive organ and accessory digestive organ. The main digestive organ are divided into two types, that is upper digestive organ and the lower digestive organ. The upper digestive organs are like the mouth, teeth, tongue, salivary glands and esophagus, and the lower digestive organs are the stomach, small intestine, large intestine and the rectum. Then the accessory organs. Accessory organs include the liver, gallbladder and the pancreas. The first of all we will see the primary or the upper digestive organ, that is first mouth or oral cavity. Mouth or oral cavity or the buccal cavity is the primary first part of the digestive system. It is divided into two types, that is vestibule and the mouth proper. The vestibule include the cheek, then lips and the teeth gums, and mouth proper are defined as the other part of the oral cavity that is other than the vestibules. Then teeth is the hardest part of the oral cavity. It is divided into two types, that is primary teeth. It is also known as the milk teeth or baby teeth, and second one is the secondary teeth, means the permanent teeth. Then the tongue is the voluntary muscular organ of the oral cavity. And then we see the salivary gland. The salivary gland are the three major pair of the glands which is near the oral cavity, and it secrete the saliva. The composition of the saliva include the 98% of water, 2% of organics or inorganics, then the vitamin B12, then immunoglobulin. The pH of saliva is about 6.35 to 6.85. The function of saliva is like the lubrication, the smoothness of provide to the food. Then type of salivary glands are parotid gland, then the submandibular and the sublingual gland. Then the last part of lower digestive organ, that is esophagus. Upper digestive organ, that is esophagus is a connective tube of the mouth to the stomach. It is a tube like structure which connect the mouth to the stomach. It is about 25 centimeter long muscular tube. It is also called as the food pipe. The Then the structure of the esophagus, that two lining are present in the esophagus, that is circular lining, and second one is a longitudinal lining. Then the stomach is J-shaped structure, and it is also called as a food bag. Stomach has capacity about 1.5 liter. It is situated just inferior to diaphragm, and the parts of stomach are the uh, body, fundus, cardiac, and the pyrolus. Then the small intestine. The small intestine are the major event of the digestive and the absorption occur in the long tube called as small intestine. The diameter of the small intestine is about 2.5 centimeter, and length is about 3 to 5 meter. The structure of small intestine, it includes the three parts, that is duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. The layer of intestine is peritoneum layer, muscle layer, submucosa, and the mucosa. And large intestine. Large intestine is the last part of the lower digestive organ. It is large intestine is terminal portion of GIT and extended from the ileum to the anus, and it is about 1.5 meter long, and it is also called as the colon. Then we will discuss about the respiratory system. The respiratory system is a biological system consisting of a specific organ and structure used for the gas exchange within the body of the animals and the plants. The function of respiratory system are include exchange of gases, that is carbon dioxide and the oxygen, then filtration, humidification, purification of the blood, maintain the volume of the air within the body, and acid base balance, smell, and the speech. The organs which is included in the respiratory system are uh, upper respiratory system organ and the lower respiratory system organ. The upper respiratory system organ include nose, mouth, larynx, and the pharynx, and the lower respiratory organ include trachea, bronchioles, and the lungs. The mechanism of respiration, it is a process by which the lungs are expanded to take in, and contracted to expel it out. The cycle of respiration consists of three phases, that is inspiration, expiration, and the pause. The cycle of the respiration is taken within the per minute. It is 16 to 17 cycle per minute, and the expansion of chest during the inspiration occur due to the muscle activities of the respiratory muscle. This muscle activity is partially voluntary and partially involuntary. The process of respiration, which include the inspiration, expiration, and the pause. The inspiration means in this stage the pressure within the lungs is less than the atmospheric pressure, and the diaphragm is relaxed, and the intercostal muscle, which is uh, work in the respiratory system, is also relaxed. Due to this, the air is forced into the lungs and through the respiratory passage, and size of the thoracic cavity gradually increases, and due to the entry of the air into the lungs, and this is called inspiration phase. The second phase of respiration is expiration. The In the expiration phase, the pressure within the lungs is greater than the atmospheric pressure, and in this stage diaphragm as well as the intercostal muscles exerting pressure on the both lungs, and at the same time intercostal muscle get contracted and the air is forced outside the lungs. It is called the expiration phase. And last phase of respiration is the pause. The after expiration there is a little gap called as a pause, and again second cycle of the respiration take place. Then we will discuss about the skeletal system. The skeletal system in which we study the bone, cartilage, and the osteology. The osteology is the scientific term for the study of the skeletal system. Osteo means bone and logy means the study. Therefore, osteology, it is the study of skeletal system. The skeletal system in which we study the bones and the cartilage. The bone tissue make up about 18% of the total human body weight, and the skeletal system support and protect the body while giving it shape and the form. The skeletal system composed of bone, cartilage, joint, and ligaments. The functions of the skeletal systems are support, protection, movement, then storage, and blood cell formation. The first is support. The support in which the heart framework that support the soft organ within the body. Protection, it means the surround organ such as the brain and spinal cord. Then the movement is allow for the muscle attachment. Therefore, the bones are used as the livers, and the blood cell formation, the bone marrow, in which the uh, responsible for RBC production, and human skeletal contains the 206 bones. The bones of the skeletal are grouped into two division or two principal division, that is axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. In axial skeletal, the skull bones, then auditory ossicles, that is ear bones, then hide bones and the ribs, sternum, and bone of the vertebral column. In the appendicular skeleton, it consists of bone of the upper lower limbs, pulse, bones forming of the griddles, and the classification of bone on the basis of their shape, that is long bone, short bone, a flat bone, and the irregular bone and the sesamoid. The long bones. First is the long bones. Long bones include the femur, tibia, fibula, humerus, and the ulna. And short bone include the tarsals and the carpal. The flat bones. Flat bone include the sternum, ribs, and the scapula. Then the irregular bones. Irregular bones include hip bone and the some facial bone. And last one is the sesamoid bone. Sesamoid bone include the foot and hand bones. Then the axial skeletal consists of skull, vertebral column, etc. Then we will see about the muscular system. The muscular system is a complex collection of the tissues, each with a different purpose. Then understanding the component of the muscular system, including the various type of connective tissue, is a good way to understand how the bodies and the physical movement work. Then we see the functions of the muscular system. The function of muscular system includes the body movement, maintenance of the maintenance of posture, then respiration. In the respiration, the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm is included. Then communication, then constriction of the organ and the vessels, then the heartbeat and production of the body heart. The properties of muscles include excitability, contractility, then the extensibility, and last one is the elasticity. The type of muscles include the skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, and the circular muscle. The skeletal muscle structure, it is composed of muscle cell, that is fibers, and connective tissue, blood vessel, and the nerves. The fibers are long, cylindrical, and the multinucleated. It is tend to be a smaller diameter in a small muscle and larger in the large muscles. It is about 1 millimeter to 4 centimeter in length. Developed from the myoblast, that is numerous remain constant and straighted. It has a straighted appearance, and nuclei are peripherally located in this structure. Then we will discuss about the circulatory system. The circulatory system is a system of an organ that include the heart, blood vessels, and the blood, which is circulated throughout the our body and of the human. It include the cardiovascular system that consists heart and the blood vessel. Circulatory system has a two division, that is pulmonary circulation and the systemic circulation. The component of circulatory system include the heart, arteries, capillaries, venules, and the vein. The valves present in the hearts are bicuspid valve, tricuspid valve, and the seminular valves. The layers of the heart, it include the pericardium, myocardium, and the endocardium. The pericardium layer is the outermost layer which provide the lubrication for the heart and prevent distension. Then myocardium. Myocardium is the middle layer of the heart, that is special cardiac muscle regulated contraction of the heart. And inner layer of heart is called as endocardium layer. It provides the protection to the valve, heart, and the heart chambers. The structure of the heart. The heart is divided into right and left side by the spectrum. Each side of heart is divided into upper chamber and the lower chamber. The upper chamber of the heart are called as the atrium, and lower chamber of the heart is called as the ventricles. The walls between the atrium and the ventricles are open and closed when the pressure is in the chamber is changes. Then right side of the heart deals with the deoxygenated blood, and left side of the heart is deals with the oxygenated blood. The vessels carrying the blood to the heart are called as the veins, and the vessels which carry blood away from the heart are called as the arteries. It means the heart are divided into four chambers. It has a two atrium and two ventricle, that is right atrium, left ventricle and right ventricles. Then the functions of cardiovascular system: it provides the oxygen, nutrients and the hormones to the muscle tissue and the throughout the our body. Another part of circulatory system is to remove the waste from the cells and the organs so your body can dispose it, and fighting the disease by the transporting the WBC, which means the white blood cells throughout the body. Then we will discuss about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is responsible for the transfer and the returning of the material from the tissue of the body to the blood, and from the blood to the tissue of the body. The components of the lymphatic systems are lymphatic capillaries, then lymph node, and lymphoid organs. The first one is the lymph. Lymph is a fluid in transit between the interstitial fluid and the blood. Then lymphatic capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries are a blind-ended structure, and it is a large intercellular space. Lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are the masses of a connective tissue where the lymphocytes are present, and there are lymph called as lymph nodes. Then we see the lymphoid organ. Lymphoid organ are divided into two types, that is primary lymphoid organ and the secondary lymphoid organ. The primary lymphoid organ include the bone marrow and thymus, and the secondary lymphoid organ included the lymph node, spleen, tonsils, and certain tissue in the various mucous membrane. The location of the lymphoid system, lymph node are present in the neck region, and that axilla and grain of the human. It is present in the walls of the digestive tract also. The functions of the lymphatic system. It is lymphatic system has function. It returns excess fluid, and it dissolve protein and other substance into the blood. The lacteal of the villi absorb the large fat of globules. It is helps defend the body against the foreign substances, and the lymph node filter the lymph and spleen filter the blood. It produces antibody to fight the bacteria. It maintains the fluid level in our body tissue by the removing the all fluids that leak out from our body vessels, blood vessels. Then the endocrine system. The endocrine system constituted by the endocrine gland, which is different part of the body. This endocrine gland secrete the chemical substances which is known as the hormone. The hormone is defined as, or it is the chemical substances that release in the one part of the body and activate the and regulate the cell activity in either part of the our body. The body contains two types of glands, such as endocrine gland and the uh, exocrine gland. The endocrine gland, also called as the ductless gland, and exocrine gland called as the duct gland. The endocrine gland are release the hormone directly into the bloodstream. The endocrine gland consists the pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, adrenal gland, thymus gland, and the pineal gland. The pituitary gland called as the master gland or the hypophysis. The size of pituitary gland is P-shaped. And pituitary gland is divided into two types, that is anterior lobe and the posterior lobe. The anterior lobe of the pituitary gland called the anterior pituitary gland, and posterior lobe called posterior pituitary gland. The anterior lobe also called as the master gland or the adenohypophysis. It secretes the seven types of hormone, that is HGH, that is human growth hormone, FSH, that is the follicle stimulating hormone, TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone, then ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, then LH, luteinizing hormone, PH, that is prolactin hormone, and last one is the MSH, that is melanocyte stimulating hormone. The human growth hormone is secreted by the somatotroph cells. Then TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone, it is uh, secreted by thyrotroph cell of the pituitary gland. Then ACTH, that is the uh, adrenocorticotropic hormone, it is secreted by adrenal cortex. And then the FSH, that is the um, follicle stimulating hormone, it is secreted by the gonadotrophs of cell of the pituitary gland. Then LH, that is the luteinizing hormone, it is also secreted by the gonadotrophs cell of the pituitary gland. It secretes the testosterone in the male, and in female it secretes the progesterone. Then PH is the prolactin hormone, it is secreted by the lactotroph cell, and it stimulates the milk secretion. MSH, then MSH increase the skin pigmentation by stimulating the melanin granules. And then the second one is the posterior lobe. Posterior lobe include the ADH, that is antidiuretic hormone, and the oxytocin. The ADH is also called as the vasopressin, that is antidiuretic hormone, and it is control the urine output. Then the oxytocin. Oxytocin secreted by the paraventricular nucleus of the hypothalamus and act on the mammary gland of and the uterus, and it control the uterus more in the labor. Then the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland, and it has the butterfly shape. It is situated in the neck, in the front of the larynxes and the trachea. The thyroid gland produces the three types of hormone, that is triiodothyronine, thyroxine, and the calcitonin. The triiodothyronine means T3, and thyroxine, it means the T4 hormone. Then the parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland is the small gland of the endocrine system. It is located in neck behind the thyroid, and it is secreted parathyroid hormone. Then the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is also called as the life-saving gland or supraadrenal gland. It is situated in the kidney. It is made from two lobes, that is adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. Adrenal cortex secreted the three types of the hormone, that is ACTH, then aldosterone, and the androgen hormone. Then the adrenal medulla. Adrenal medulla, it is the inner region of the kidney. It secretes the two types of the hormone, that is epinephrine and the norepinephrine hormone. Then the thymus gland. Thymus gland, it is situated behind the sternum between the lungs, and it produce the hormone are called as thyrosin. Then the pineal gland. Pineal gland is situated above the thalamus and the third ventricles. It is secreted the melatonin hormone, which is control the sleep cycle. Then pancreas secreted the hormone, that is known as insulin and the glucagon. Then the testis secreted the hormone testosterone, and the ovary secreted the hormone, that is androgen or the progesterone. Then we see the integumentary system. Integumentary system is the outer layer of the body. It contains the skin, nails, hair, glands, and the neuron. The skin act as the barrier or the waterproof barrier to our internal organ. The function of skin is maintain internal environment of our body. Then it act as a excreting waste product. Then it production from the bacteria. Then maintain the body moisture, protection from the injury, regulate the body temperature. It protects the internal soft organs. Skin is the largest organ of our body. It is weight of the skin about 6 pound or more. The layer of skins are epidermis, dermis, and the hypodermis. or the subcutaneous. Epidermis layer is the topmost layer of the our skin, and it is made up of the stratified squamous epithelium. The layer of epidermis are stratum basilae, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidium, and the stratum corneum. Dermis is the middle layer of the skin. It is made up of the fibrous connective tissues. It is present in sensory memory nerves. It also contains the sweat glands and the hair follicle also found in the dermis. Then the hypodermis. Hypodermis also known as the subcutaneous layer. It is the inner layer of the skin. It is made up of the adipose tissues and the loose of connective tissue. It is the lowest layer of the skin, and also it is the fatty layer of the skin. Then the nails are made up of the keratin, that is the protein. It is found at the end of the our fingers and the toes. It the parts of the nails that include the nail plate, nail bed, cuticles, then the matrix and the lanula. Then the hair is composed of the dead keratinocyte cells that is protect the body from the UV rays and regulate the skin temperature, and the made up of the protein called as the keratin. The parts of hair are the hair shaft, hair bulbs, and the hair follicles. Then we see about the urinary system. The urinary system is the main secretory system of our body. The urinary system play a vital part in the maintaining the homeostasis of the water and the electrolytes. The kidney produce the urine that contain the metabolic waste product, including the nitrogenous compounds, urea, uric acid, and excess ions, and the some drugs. The term nephrology is the scientific study of the kidney. The urinary system is made up from the two kidneys, two urethra, then one bladder and one urethra. The kidney is the vital region or the vital organ of our body. It is made up of mesoderm layer, and it has a two in number, that is right and the left. Right kidney is situated lower than the left kidney because of the liver is situated into the right side. The shape of kidney is bean shaped, and the size of kidney is about 12 centimeter long, 6 centimeter in wide, and 3 centimeter thick. The color of kidney is like the reddish in brown, and weight is 130 gram in the female and 150 gram in the male. The layer of kidney are mainly three layers of the kidney, that is renal capsule, renal cortex, renal medulla. The renal capsule is the layer of the connective fatty tissues surrounding the kidney. The renal cortex is a light red area of the tissue between the capsule and the pyramids. The last is the renal medulla. It is the deep dark area of the kidney called a renal medulla. The renal medulla contain the 8 to 16 cone-shaped renal pyramids. In the pyramids, the nephrons are present. It's about 1.3 million nephrons are present in the pyramids. Then we see the functions of the kidney. The function of kidney is urine formation, then the filtration, absorption, then secretion of the renal enzymes, production of erythroproteins hormone, then the regulation of blood pressure, then maintain the acid base balance, and it helps in RBC production, maintain the fluid volume. The blood supply of kidney is by the renal arteries and the renal veins. Then the structure of nephron. Nephron is the functional and the structural unit of the kidney. The structure of nephron is also called as the structural and the functional unit of the kidney. Each kidney has the 1.3 millions of a nephron and nephron present in the pyramids. The parts of nephrons are the renal corpus, glomerulus, then glomerular capsule, renal renal tubules, proximal tubules, loop of Henle, and the distal tubules. The composition of urine is 95% of water, then 1% of the electrolytes, then 1 to 2.5 gram per liter of the creatine, 0 point 0.5 gram per liter of the ammonia, and 0.3 gram per liter uric acid. The urine has pH about 6 to 7.5, and it has a light yellow in color. Then next part is the ureter. Ureter is about 20 to 30 centimeter long, and it is a diameter about 3 millimeter, and ureter is a tube like structure. Then the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a muscular sac in the pelvis. It is about pear in shape. The total capacity of the urinary bladder is about 1 liter urine, and the maximum capacity is 1 to 1.5 liter. And then function of urinary bladder, it is urinate, then storage of urine, and maximum capacity is 1 to 1.5 liter. Then urethra, it is a small tube like structure, connect the urinary bladder to the remove urine from the body. Then we will discuss about the nervous system. The nervous system is the master controlling system of our body. The nervous system control and coordinate all the essential functions of the human body. The classification of nervous system include the nervous system is classified into two types, that is central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system include or consists the brain and the spinal cord. Then the peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system is further divided into motor nerves and the sensory nerves. Motor nerves are further divided into the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system has a two type, that is sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The functions of the nervous system are sensory input, then integration, then motor input. Then the neuron. Neuron is the structural and the functional unit of the nervous system. The structure of neuron include the nerve cell body, then the dendrites and the axon. Then the CNS, that is central nervous system. It consists the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is composed of the type, that is forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain consists cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus, and the epithalamus, and the hindbrain consists the pons, cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata. Then last system of our body is the reproductive system. It includes the female reproductive system and the male reproductive system. First of all, we will see the female reproductive system. The reproductive system is the ability to produce, is one of the properties distinguishing the living from the non-living matters. The more primitive the animal, the simpler the process of reproduction. In the mammals, including human, the process is one of the sexual reproduction, in which the male and female organ are differ anatomically and physiologically, and the new individual develop from the fusion of two different sex cells, that is the gametes. The male gametes called the spermatozoa, and female gametes are called the ova. The female reproductive system include the external genitalia and the internal genitalia. The internal genitalia include the vagina, uterus, uterine tube, that is fallopian tubes, and the ovaries, reproductive cycle, menopause, and the breast. The function of female reproductive system are the formation of ova, provision of the suitable environment for the fertilization and the fetal development, then reception of the spermatozoa and the pasteurization, that is childbirth, then the lactation, the production of the breast milk, which provide the complete nourishment for the body in the early life. And the external genitalia, that is vulva, it is the external genitalia are known as collectively as the vulva, and it is consist of labia majora and labia minora. The labia majora is the two large folds forming the boundary of the vulva, and they are composed of skin, fibrous tissue, and the fat. It contain the large number of sebaceous and the endocrine sweat glands. Then the labia minora are the two smaller folds of the skin between the labia majora and connecting the numerous sebaceous and eccrine glands. Then the clitoris. Clitoris correspond to the penis in the male and contain the sensory nerves and ending and the erectile tissue. The internal genitalia, that is vagina, uterus, two uterine tubes, that is fallopian tubes, and the two ovaries. The first is the vagina. It is the fibromuscular tube lined with the stratified squamous epithelium, and the vaginal wall has a three layers, that is uh, outer covering of the alveolar tissue, middle layer of the smooth muscle, and inner lining of the stratified squamous epithelium. Then the uterus, it has a halomuscular pear-shaped organ. It is located on the anterior posteriorly in the pelvis cavity. It lies in the pelvic cavity between the urinary bladder and the rectum. The parts of the uterus are the fundus, body, and the cervix. Then the uterine tube. Uterine tube, also known as the fallopian tube. It is the tube are about 10 centimeter long and extended from the side of the uterus between the body and the fundus. Then the ovaries. The ovaries are the female gonads or gland producing the sex hormone, and the or the ova. They are lie in a shallow process of the lateral walls of the pelvis. The ovary are the organ in which the female gametes are stored and develop prior to ovulation, and their maturation is controlled by the hypothalamus and another pituitary glands. The last female reproductive system organ is the breast. The breast or the mammary glands are the accessory gland of the female reproductive system. Then the male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of scrotum, testes, then the seminal vesicles, ejaculatory ducts, prostate gland, urethra, penis, and the ejaculation. The function of the male reproductive system are the production, maturation, and the storage of spermatozoa and delivery of the spermatozoa in the semen into the female reproductive tract. The first is the scrotum. The scrotum is the pouch of the pigmented skin fibers and the connective tissue and the smooth muscle. It is divided into the compartments, each of which contain one testis, one epididymis, and the testicular end of the spermatic cord. Then the testes. Testes are made up of male reproductive gland and are the equivalent of the ovaries in the female. They are about 4.5 centimeter long, 2.5 centimeter has width, and 3 centimeter thick, and are suspended in the scrotum by the spermatic cords. They are surrounded by the three layers of the tissue. That three layers, that is the tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, and tunica vesiculosa. Then the spermatic cords. Spermatic cords are suspended the test in the scrotum, and each cord contains the testicular artery, testicular veins, and the lymphatics. Then the seminal vesicles. It has a 5 centimeter long that join with the different duct to form the common ejaculatory duct. The function of the seminal vesicles are: seminal vesicle contract and expel their stored contents, seminal fluids, during the ejaculation, and seminal fluid which form 60% of the volume of the semen. Then the ejaculatory duct. Ejaculatory ducts are two tubes about 2 centimeter long, each formed by the union of the duct from a seminal vesicle and the different duct. Then the prostate gland. The prostate gland weight about 8 gram in the youth and but progressively enlarge with age and is likely to weigh about 40 gram by the age of the 50. The function of prostate gland, it secrete a thin milky fluid.
that make up about 30% of the volume of the semen and gives it its milky appearance. Then the urethra. Urethra has 90 to 20 centimeter long. Then it has a prosthetic urethra and the two. It has a two sphincters. The 100 millions of the spermatozoa per ml, if not ejaculated, the sperm gradually lost their fertility after the several months and are reabsorbed by the epidermis.